What's up, guys? Dylan here, and welcome to another mini episode of Behind the Studio. Today, I have Brie with me.
Hey, guys.
And we are going to be talking about plants, specifically houseplants, because that's kind of really what me and Brie have.
Right.
So, before we get started, Brie, how long have you been liking plants and into plants?
I've liked houseplants since June of this year because I haven't had any since June of this year. But I like growing vegetable garden. I like gardening, so that's kind of a plant that just has.
I mean, it's definitely a plant.
It's a plant. I don't know. It's a plant, but it has vegetables attached to them, I guess. So
I could never.
I like
successfully
outdoor planting, 100%. So I've just gotten into the world of house planting.
I've never been successfully. Well, I say that. Back in the day, I had like a vegetable garden and stuff, but in my adult age, it just got ruined multiple times by weeds, or during the hurricane, it actually got destroyed, so that sucked. But whenever we rebuilt our house, we got houseplants, and I've pretty much been into houseplants ever since. And now every time I go to coffee shops and all these places, I'm like, man, look at that good-looking plant. This is so cool. But we're just going to mainly talk about, like I said, houseplants. I got some questions for you, and I want to get your opinion on some things. So we're going to talk about a few benefits of houseplants. Now, let's just all keep in mind that we are but humble podcasters and don't actually know anything
about plants.
About plants, and just used Google. So everyone, let's just keep that in mind. However, I did find a 2015 study that investigated the effects of interaction with house plants or indoor plants on the stress levels of the participants. So basically what happened was they had only about 24 people in this study. So, I don't know how legit it is, but it is legit, it's a legit study that's peer reviewed and all that kind of stuff. But they took 12 and they did not interact with plants, and they took the other 12, interacted with plants. Then after 3 weeks, flopped it, and they determined that the subjects that spent time with the plants, they had reduced blood pressure, stress level, heart rates, and all that kind of stuff compared to the people that did not spend time with the plants.
That's cool.
Which is very cool. So with that in mind, I've got two questions for you. Number one, your house plants, and just like your plants in general, I think this can be like house plants, vegetables, or friggin' trees outside, right? But do you think that interacting with plants and with nature as a whole reduces stress level?
I would say yes, in a sense. I'm gonna say yes and no. So yes, because I don't know, you get to take care of something and you kind of get that pride whenever it's doing well, or whenever it does go bad, you have to do research and you fix it, and then it's okay, this is really nice. I can do it. I'm capable. But then also on the other hand, I'm afraid of bugs and things like that. So I also get a little stressed when there's a possibility that bugs or nasty stuff might be growing within, plants can get diseases. That stresses me out. I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? But it doesn't happen as often in houseplants as it does outside because it's, left to the elements.
And I think too, for me, I think low maintenance plants
yes.
are the ones that give you the stress relief, depending on who you are, right? But plants that you can just water once a week and just look at it and be like, wow, you're growing, you're beautiful, I love you. Versus the ones that are super high maintenance. So the high maintenance ones are for sure, depending on who you are, going to give you increased stress levels. At least I think that would
and they
happen
don't stick
for me.
Around because of that.
Yeah, exactly. And then so like I mentioned in that study, it was just 24 people. But do you think that the same results will be found with a larger subset of people, or do you think that it's just nah, it just is what it is for those 12 people?
I think it would probably be I guess the word is applicable to a bigger group of people. If they did, thousands or whatever. But I would say I feel the more and more we get in life, the further we are from nature. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I feel maybe that was in 2015. I wonder if it'd be different now,
right?
Because we're even further along in the world, and I just feel we're not in tune with nature, and we don't not a lot of my parents at least didn't pass down this is how you take care of a plant, this is how you take care, this is how you grow your vegetables, but they were taught that, and they know I don't know. So I think Do you think the same results will be found? Yes, I think the same results will be found if done in a larger group.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think there's something like I read like a bunch of books and listened to like a bunch of podcasts about like plants and all this mess. But like I think there's something to be said about bringing nature like inside when like you might not be able to go outside, right? So like just the opportunity to like interact with nature on a day-to-day basis when like you might be stuck in an office, or even like having like a little plant on my desk like brings me a little bit of joy. Being like stuck inside when I am stuck inside, things like that. So that is super interesting. So another quick benefit that I wanted to touch on was, and another study that I want to talk about was one that was conducted by NASA, and it found that plants can help improve air quality and reduce harmful chemicals in the air, which, you know, makes sense because like that is like what outside plants do, right? However, there's been, you know, a lot of things that confirm it. There's been other things that are like, nah, this is not, like they don't actually do that. And then there's other people that say, you know, you have to have so many plants to have a meaningful difference that like, you know, it's not really in the best way to purify your air or whatever. So in my opinion, like, you know, if you're trying to purify your air, obviously I probably wouldn't go the plant route. I would do like, you know, an air purifier. But like how cool is that, like as an additional benefit of like, you know, if you're going to get plants anyway and they can purify your air, like that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And like I feel like, yeah, it might be so micro, even if you have like 1, 2, 3 plants in a room, it might be such a micro difference in like air purifying. Like it's not making that big of a difference, but it's making some difference.
Right,
like it's not making zero, harming, right?
Like it's not emitting like CO2 and you're slowly dying.
Yeah. So I think to say that like, don't put plants in your house, they don't actually do anything. I'm sure they do things for your health, and it's pretty.
Yeah,
when pretty things make people feel good.
Yeah, and like that's something that study brought up. Like one of the studies that was like it didn't do anything, but people, when they did a survey, people said that they just felt better and that like the air quality was better, et cetera, and they were like, that was just a placebo effect, because looking at the data, it didn't, you know, the air quality didn't change. But I would argue that like placebos work. Yeah. And like
placebo,
like whatever works. Yeah. Placebo, shalibo. I like that. So now we're gonna talk a little bit about some of our favorite plants just to have inside or outside and why we like those things. So Brie, I'm gonna let you. We're gonna do a plant at a time kind of thing. So I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about your first plant.
My first plant that I love is pothos. I'm not sure if I say that.
I'm not sure how to say it either. So I just say pothos.
Don't hurt me. Pothos.
That's what I say.
Okay, so pothos.
But it could be wrong.
Right. So I like them because they are super low maintenance. They can grow anywhere, anyhow, and also they just get really long, and then you can like drape them places and kind of make like a whole, I don't know. It's beautiful. We need to have like pictures or something. Yeah. Or just Google it. Pothos, pothos.
And we'll put some pictures of like our little plants on social.
Oh yeah.
Along with like when we have this go out and stuff. Yeah. But that's like all the reasons that I like pothos too. They were on my list as well. Oh, yeah. Pothos / ivy plants, because I don't know if like all the little running ivies are all like the pothos like thing or whatever. But I don't know. I really like them like running down the walls and things like that. Like that's my
anything
jam.
That aren't those like super invasive, like outdoor invasive ivies. Love them as houseplants. Love them.
Fact, because they're so easy to take care of, hard to kill. You got to be really struggling. I do have one plant that's struggling. A pothos that's struggling is in like the back corner of my bedroom. It's seen better days, but like it's also not dead yet.
I was about to say, but it ain't dead yet.
All right, so moving on, another plant that I really like is going to be the Wandering Jew. It's this weird like purple green plant. It's super easy to care for, super easy to propagate, and it grows really, really quickly.
And it's super pretty.
Yeah, and like it's one that like, you know, it's not really like doesn't really grow like, I guess it kind of grows on a vine or whatever, but it just goes forever and ever. Mm-hmm. So like we have one above our coffee station, and I planted it not too terribly long ago, and it's like running down the wall like 3 feet. So it's really, really cool. It might be 2 feet. I'm really bad at like estimating stuff, but it's super cool. And like I said, super easy to take care of. And I remember your dog, I gave you, like I propagated one, gave it to you, and Gemma, she ate it.
She ate that thing. And so then I put it outside because
Because she ate it.
Because she ate it. So I was like, I'm just going to put the whole thing outside. I kind of tossed it. And I was weed eating the other day, and I saw like a little bit.
Regrew.
So I think it might have grown
Let's go.
on the side of my house.
That's
but
right.
I weed eated it.
So now it's for sure dead.
Yeah. Because I was like, I don't know if this is going to be bad for, like,
Right,
I don't
for,
want
like,
it
the
going
actual
everywhere. Maybe in a pot, but maybe not in the wild. So, but it is beautiful. It's so purple and pretty.
Yeah, and like I said, it's like really easy. We bought at the nursery for like, I want to say like $1. It was this itty bitty little plant, and it has grown significantly. And I
You have a few in your house.
have like 3 other plants or 4 other plants from that singular like first $1 plant.
I love that about houseplants.
Me too. That's one of my favorite things.
It's like, might be barely expensive to start. Like, gotta get a pot, gotta get some potting soil, gotta buy the actual plant. But then after that, it's for free.
Yeah.
You just need water to propagate it.
Yeah.
And scissors.
So another tree that I have on here, or a plant, is a ficus. And so like we bought that ficus whenever we rebuilt our house and stuff, and it was growing like a lot. And so it had this offshoot of it that was really kind of in the way. And so I was like, let me cut it. Let me just see if I can propagate it and see what happens. Well, it sure enough grew roots, and I potted it, and it is like, it's a little bitty baby tree.
Yeah.
So like it's going to probably take a hot minute for it to be like the size of like the main plant, which is like 4 foot tall.
Wow.
But yeah, like that one plant is going to produce plants over and over and over. And like you can really get started, honestly, for free if you got a friend that's got a plant.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, let me get a cutting. Like,
that's how I
honestly
have all of
helps.
my house plants. I have a cutting from my brother-in-law and you.
2.
Yeah. You get yours from your grandma's house.
Yeah.
Every time that dude comes back from his grandma's house, he has a propagation.
Dude, I do, man. You just got so many plants. And like my snake plant, like it has like thrown like 3 or 4 additional snake plants. And it's just like wild. And like, oh, Mama Pat gave me all that stuff.
Love that.
So it's
Little
like
pet.
really, really cool. And then another one that I really like is most succulents are really cool.
I've never had experience with that.
They're super cool, super easy to take care of. They have like an air plant too, which is I think considered like a succulent, which literally grows in like air. It's really weird. Yeah, you have to like soak it in
you
water.
glue it on something or something.
Yeah,
like,
you can. Well, mine aren't glued. There's like stuck on there.
Yeah.
I got it from Hawaii, which is really cool. They always come back with them. And then on your list, another one that you have is what?
It's called the baby bunny bellies. I have tried to research. My brother-in-law gave it to me, and he knew the like fancy term. And I guess I could have just texted him. I didn't think about that this whole time.
We wouldn't have been able to say it anyway. I can't say none of them official names.
There's super distinct like features, so I thought it'd be easy to find on the internet, but it's not. So they're super soft and fuzzy, and have like a velvet like feeling when you like rub the leaves, just like baby bunny ears. So I imagine that's why it's called baby bunny bellies. And the underside of the leaves are purple, like a deep purple, kind of like a wandering Jew, and then on top is green. But when you're looking at the plant, it just looks green, and then you hold it up to light, and then it's purple.
Yeah, it's
super
wild.
Pretty. I love it.
I wonder if it's like related and in the same like family as
That's what
like
I'm
the Wandering Jew. Because when I saw it the other day at your house, I was like,
it's like a cousin of.
Yeah. It's like
because it doesn't have all the lines like a Wandering Jew.
Right.
But it's
and it
super
doesn't
pretty.
like it doesn't look like it like offshoots like crazy. Like it just seems to go in its own little one lane.
I got it when it was only like this big, and it's like
Big.
It's not like big, it's long.
Right.
Kind of like ivy. So I love those. They're super pretty and easy to take care of. Of all of them, that is my favorite one because it has been most rewarding so far because I've seen the most growth. I can like measure it. I used to, when I first got it, it had like 8 leaves on it, and now it probably has over like 100. Dang. Yeah, because like I can't keep track of that. But
and like I know you were frustrated with your pothos because it was growing
God.
slowly.
It was growing slowly and in a weird direction, but apparently it grows in the direction of the sun.
And like,
maybe?
yeah, I think so.
know.
I don't know. I've got.
It's like
I think
defying
it just,
gravity. Like it's just not doing what it looks like it should.
It's
but
kind of growing
fine.
up. And I have one that's similar that was doing that and then it just fell over because like gravity took over and now it's just like running down the wall.
And maybe it's just a little too light.
Yeah. So like I'll just let it do its thing and then it'll probably like drop.
I wanted to get to a point where I can hang them and they. One thing that is really confusing, not confusing, but intimidates me about houseplants, I guess stresses me out, is repotting. Like when am I supposed to, like when is my little, because all of them are in like a hand size pot, but at some point they need a bigger one, but I don't know when, and it scares me.
So like a lot of times for like ivies and stuff, I think you can just like trim them. Like, because they have like different type of root system, I think. So it's not quite like a tree where like the roots kind of go out. And so because they like run, because they're like ivies.
Okay.
So like the wandering Jew that I have that I was telling you is like super old, or not super old, but since we first got it, I've never repotted it.
Wow.
And don't plan to.
And it's thriving.
Yeah, I just keep cutting it back and using those cuttings for other plants to make other like trees or whatever. And it just does this thing. And like I have only repotted my pothos for like aesthetic purposes.
Wow.
Like putting them in.
That's the thing I'm gonna do soon.
Yeah, like putting them in just like pots that match the house versus black pots that like I started them in. Because I always start them in like
Ugly little.
ugly black pots you get from the nursery.
Yeah.
But then like when they're like mature and are actually like growing,
Yeah.
then I'll move them. I don't really know that stuff
Might
either,
try
but that's
that,
what I do.
yeah.
And like
I just
it
don't
be
want to
working.
kill it. I know sometimes
Yeah.
it can be finicky, like when you
Yeah.
do things like that. But
Yeah, I just repotted a succulent and all of its leaves fell off.
no,
So I'm hoping that it's not dead.
I
We'll
might
see.
try some succulent.
Yeah, we'll see. So thanks for listening to our Planty podcast.
Yeah.
There's going to be more mini episodes coming around, so make sure you listen to that. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube if you're watching, be sure to subscribe. And we will see you guys next time.
And if you're stressed, get yourself a houseplant.
Facts. And if you can't breathe, probably get a like
Doctor.
dehumidifier. See you guys.
Bye.